We are down to 5 races remaining until the chase cutoff at the end of the month, and this race may just be the biggest wildcard event until we get to that chase cutoff. We are here at the Michigan International Speedway. This is one of the most anticipated races each and every season in the Wawa Cup Series, and we tend to get some of the wildest races of the season here at this racetrack. It's 50 laps here today around this 2-mile racetrack in the Irish Hills of Michigan, and it's the Grizzled Graphics 400, race 18 of the season, here in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Michigan International Speedway. We are here for the 18th race of the season. This is the earliest that this race has been on the schedule in the Wawa Cup Series, and it is going to play a part in who makes the chase at the end of the month, 3 weeks from now, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But today, it's all about this race, the Grizzled Graphics 400. We're excited for this one, as we always are. Michigan International Speedway is a racetrack that sees a lot of great racing, and we tend to see a little bit more of parity in this race than we do in other races at this point in the season. And you can take a look at the starting lineup and definitely see that to be the case. GRT, they're up front with Paulus and Nichols, but we got Avery Alford and Bernardo de Oliveira leading us to the green flag here today in this one. And this is still a speedway, but it acts a little bit like a super speedway as well with how fast these guys go. We're going to be pushing 215 going into the corner, one of the fastest parts of the entire circuit here in the Wawa Cup Series. We're excited to see this one go down. We're excited to have Murray Papiani in the booth alongside us. And you called the Meliello Smoothfest at the beginning of the season with us when Brian Webb won in New Smyrna Speedway. And also saw Brendan Wilmington get that win in the Indianapolis 250 a couple weeks ago. But this race here, this is playing a pivotal part in this Wawa Cup Series championship, and it is a very fast racetrack. What do you have to do to get to victory lane here at a place such as wild as this one here in the Michigan International Speedway?
Well, you definitely got to keep the car out of trouble and make it to the end of the race, right? So with this wide racetrack, and we're going to be seeing some 2, 3, 4 wide racing. It's all about not making mistakes and not getting involved in an accident too soon.
And of course, it's also about maintaining your equipment as well. Who can forget this race 2 years ago when Drew Webb led nearly every single lap and blew a tire from the race lead on the final lap of the race down the backstretch. One of the most incredible finishes we've ever seen on the channel came right here. We'll see if that ends up being the case here today. Of course, last year this race was won by Travis Crampton. When this race was late in the season in the chase, he did not make the chase, but he had a very good run in the chase, and he's trying to make the chase this season, has a very good shot at doing so. He's 75 points ahead of that cutoff, as you see the chase grid right there. Ludovic Charette 108 points ahead, and Travis Crampton 75 points ahead. Both of those drivers looking pretty good in these next 5 races to solidify a spot into the chase, but everybody else, they're a little tight right there. Of course, our last winner, Isaac Nichols, got the win at Nashville a week ago. He's 38 points ahead. Duncan Ward is 33 points ahead. Laura Chung 31 points ahead. Daniel Paulus Jr. 29 points ahead. Kirsten Bell 25 points ahead. Alex Vitale, Logan Williams both 23 points ahead. They're all so close to each other. Only 15 points separating 3rd through 9th, but then it's a bit of a jump back down the 10th, where it's 22 points separating 9th and 10th between Logan Williams and Nathan Smith, who currently holds on to the last spot into the chase proper. Jack Haas only 1 point behind. Tanner Parton 2 points behind. Avery Alford 12 points behind, and that is including the point that he earned from winning this pole here in Michigan. Blaine Keys, this is the big story. Last year's runner-up in the championship is 14 points behind the cutoff coming into this one. Andrew Miller there, 33 points behind the cutoff, but you look over to the right there and you see Miller is still in that wild card race. 13 points ahead of Thomas Troxel, with Jack Haas having 45 points ahead of the wild card cutoff. Troxel trying to move his way up there. He's 13 points behind that cutoff. He does not want to see someone like Trey Bartow or Bryce Egan or Nicholas Sambadio or heck, even Avery Alford win this race, because that means that we could end up with another driver in that wild card race. And it could definitely make things a little bit harder for Andrew Miller, for Jack Eyes, for Nathan Smith if he falls back behind, for Thomas Troxel, and only 5 races left to go. There's not a lot of time to work those points up as we move on to that chase cutoff in 3 weeks. But this race is going to be a very fun race. And if you've been around the channel long enough, you know how great of a racetrack this is. Of course, Matt Tuck, he messed with the I&I about 5 years ago, and we've been using that same one ever since. These guys are going to be sliding off the exit of the corners. We're going to see some slide jobs here today, as they like to call it. And who knows who's going to get the race victory, because all these guys have a good opportunity starting in the top 10, with Avery Alford starting on the pole position alongside Bernardo de Oliveira in the number 0. And then you got Daniel Paulus Jr., Isaac Nichols there in row number 2. The GRT cars have been very fast as of late. They went 1, 2, 3, 4 last week in Nashville. We'll see if they do the same here today. Zayden Davidson and Alex Sanvitali there make up row number 3. And Sanvitali could definitely use a good run here today, because he's right there in the mix for this championship battle. And then in row number 4, you see Ludovic Stripe, Bruno Diacomo there. Bruno Diacomo is going to have to have a lot to go his way if he's going to make the chase this season. He's 76 points behind the cutoff coming in, but Ludovic Stripe 108 ahead of that cutoff, looking to get her first win of the season, even though she is the points leader. And then Nicholas Sambadio, LJ Semedo round out the top 10 starting positions here from Michigan. It is Avery Alford leading us off to the green flag. Let's go ahead and see what he does here. Let's get these drivers to roll off here in the Grizzled Graphics 400. And Murray, I'm not sure how much you've been keeping up this season, but do you have an idea of who might go to victory lane here today in the race that you are sponsoring for us here today at Michigan International Speedway?
You know, I think that Grad Alliance is super strong, and I think they've got the momentum right now, so I'm going to go with Isaac Nichols going back-to-back.
Looking to join Daniel Paulus Jr. as a 3-time winner this season. Of course, Paulus got his 3rd win of the season in the Coke 600 2 weeks ago. Of course, Isaac Nichols won last week, so GOT, they are 2 in a row right now. They've got a lot of wins. And one driver who has not gone the victory lane yet is Ludovic Stripe. I have a good feeling about her. Our defending champion, our points leader, looking to get her first win of the 2025 Wawa Cup Series season. This is going to be a fun race, no doubt about it. Murray, I'm going to ask you, are we going to see a caution in this race? Because we have seen past years these guys race very hard, but they don't tend to wreck too much. Do you think they're going to be very aggressive and we're going to see a lot of crashes here today? Or is it going to be a clean race out of these guys here in the 18th race of the season?
You know, that's a good question, and it could go either way, but just off of vibes and feelings, I'm thinking we might see 1 or 2 cautions. Who knows?
We'll have to see how it all goes down. We had 1 caution last year when Travis Crampton won this race, and technically we had 1 caution in 2023. That was for Drew Webb blowing a tire on the last lap of the race after dominating the event. Who knows how it's going to go down, but we do know we got 42 cars in the field. They're all ready to get going here, and they're ready to go 215 miles per hour in the turn number 1 here in a couple of laps. Avery Alford and Bernardo de Oliveira lead us to the green flag. Here we go for the 18th race of the season in the Wawa Cup Series in Michigan. Well, Avery Alford will not be able to lead the first lap of the race. Daniel Paulus Jr. leads lap number 1. That's a bonus point towards the championship for him right there. And here we go. We got the 3 wide. We got the split. We got these guys all in different lines going into the corner. And we got Ludovic Stripe looking to make it 4 wide for the 2nd position going off the exit of turn number 2. And Ludovic knows she wants that race victory. She has yet to go to victory lane yet this season. She knows she's got a huge opportunity of doing so here today. But St. Davis and Isaac Nichols, Bernardo de Oliveira, a great run for the Zero Machine, trying to split the middle right there to the inside of Avery Alford. But it's still Daniel Paulus Jr. leading the field in the number 54.
Yeah, and the 54 with a comfortable lead already, despite this big pack behind him. But we're already seeing some 3 and 4 wide racing. It looks like the top side has a bit more momentum as of right now, as we see Nichols taking 3rd spot.
Yeah, and that outside lane definitely seems to have a huge advantage at the moment. Bruno Diacomo up to the 4th position right here. Zane Davison up there as well. Ladovic trying to find that middle lane. There's not as much grip on that inside lane. And you saw Nicholas Sambanillo. He was on the inside. He slipped back quite a bit right there. And he's now outside the top 10 in that 59 machine, trying to work his way back through the field. Blaine Keys, this is a driver who needs a good run, who needs a race victory. He also could use a race victory in his attempt to make the chase this season, try to get into that wild card race. Sambanillo a little loose going into the corner. There's our North Wilkesboro winner of Kirsten Bell in the middle right now as well. How about Zachary Fitzwater here in the top 15, or close to it? And last year's winner of this race, Travis Crampton, did not have a good qualifying effort in this one, but he has found himself up into the top 20, trying to work his way through the field in the number 98. Back up to the front. How about Avery Alford, our pole sitter? Great run for him here today, trying to get to the inside of Paulus. And how about Ladovic Schritt to the inside for 4th on Bruno Diacomo, as we're already on lap number 5 here in this Grizzled Graphics 400. Paulus has led every lap so far, but here comes Alford looking to get a run to the inside in the turn number 1.
Yeah, and what was that I said about a comfortable lead moments ago? Here they are, nearly side by side down the back straight. I don't know if the 13 is going to be able to get to the door. Looks like he will. Entering 3, will we see a lead change?
Avery Alford, we have not seen a lead change on track since North Wilkesboro. And, both Charlotte and Nashville were dominated by the GRT drivers, and so far they're holding that streak up. They've led every lap since the beginning of the Coke 600 2 weeks ago, but Alford almost had a shot there, but just not enough grip on that inside lane. Here comes Ladovic Schritt. Bruno Diacomo still up here as well. How about LJ Sametto? He has not had a good season at all. Here he is, top 10 right now, as the Pacific Racing drivers almost took each other out. Blaine Keys and Thomas Troxel, and both of these drivers on the outside looking in. Blaine Keys trying to work his way through the field to have an opportunity and maybe winning his first race of the season. But he's got a lot of guys ahead of him that he's got to get around to have an opportunity. We will have a pit stop in this race, about a 28 to 29 lap fuel run here at the Michigan International Speedway. So that will definitely play a huge factor into who gets the race victory. And hey, these guys last week at Parker Davis Enterprises had a great pit stop to give Isaac Nichols the race victory in that one. But Ladovic Schritt seems to have a very quick race car. And our points here are looking to extend that points lead, looking to get her first win of the season. She's to the inside of Nichols there for the 2nd position, and I can hear Matt now. You know, these are kind of like the pseudo teammates, even though they are on different teams.
Autosport.
Their alliance teams, obviously. Of course, Matt Tuck drove the 54 for Grand Autosport last year. The 54 is now with Team Velocitar, but they essentially come out of the same shop, and here they are 1-2 once again. It's 1-2-3 for GRT here, 8 laps into this race here in Michigan.
As we see the 24 having a peek at the 6, not quite going to have a look there as we're 3 wide further back in the back. That is your outside pole sitter of Bernardo de Oliveira.
Oliveira, of course, trying to get a good run in this race, but he has struggled, only one top 10 this season for the driver of the number 0. Blaine Keys utilizing that outside lane to his advantage. Thomas Troxel as well. There's Trey Bartow, Crampton trying to work his way through the field. They have settled down quite a bit throughout the field, and no wrecks. Everybody still in this race. And even, Logan Williams has a problem in the 95, and that's a tire going down on the 95 machine. And he's not going to be able to make it from here to the rest of the race as well, so this is an unscheduled stop for the 95, and this is not at all what Logan Williams needs, because he fell in the standings after last week's race in Nashville. If you're getting caught up in that wreck, he's only got himself 23 points ahead of the cut line, and he's going to go a lap down here. As for the race lead, we missed it. That's all you got to do. Ladovic Schritt out front here, and that's our first lead change on the track since North Wilkesboro. Ladovic Schritt taking it away here on lap number 10, but Paul is going to try to move back to the inside. How about Bruno Diacomo? Great run for Diacomo in this race, still running with these guys. You got to run Isaac Nichols up there to the 3rd position now in the top 3, all on each other right here.
Yeah, you could throw a blanket over these top 3 as Charette looks to have a pretty fast car, but here comes the 54 having a peek on the inside. And such a bummer for the 95 team, blowing a tire on lap 9. They'll rejoin the racetrack as they're side by side for the lead heading into turn number 1.
And Paul is looking to take this back away from Ladovic here. It kind of feels like the title is going to be between these two drivers the way this season has gone. And once again, a dominating performance out of these GRT guys, and especially these two. I mean, they led every single lap between the two of them in the Coke 600. And they led some laps as well. Chris Paulus actually did not lead any laps in Nashville, but Charette did. It was the Parker Davis guys who had a good run. And here comes Nathan Smith. He's up into the top 10 as well. Here comes Blaine Keys as LJ Semedo goes a little wide right there. Blaine Keys now to the inside of Nathan Smith. That is for the 7th position, I do believe. Alfred slipping back in the 13, but he's still in the top 10. And you got Bernardo Oliveira running 11. Thomas Troxel. Sam Badillo slipping back in the 59, and he's a guy who needs a win to have any opportunity of making the chase at this point. And he's far from being up front, but Crampton is slowly and methodically working his way through the field in this 98 machine. Last year's winner here in Michigan, looking to have an opportunity and maybe getting the Charette for the regular season title, though I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen if Charette wins this race. This 51 has been very strong all season. She's just yet to get to victory lane, and I'm just waiting for her to get that first win and then really rack up a lot of wins this season. But I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with this 24 of Bruno Diacomo. What a run Diacomo has had in this race, and he might actually get to the inside of Ladovic for this race lead here, and it looks like he's going to have a shot at it, and they're side by side down the backstretch. GRT has led every lap since the last lap of North Wilkesboro. It looks like that streak might end right here, as we're on lap 13 here in this Grizzled Graphics 400, and Bruno Diacomo has taken the lead away here in Michigan.
Yeah, that was a mighty clean pass. It looked like they might touch off turn 2, but they kept it clean. And, man, the 24 utilizing that bottom lane, which we haven't seen much of in this race, as we're side by side for both 2nd and 4th position here. So a lot of great racing happening at this racetrack here in Motor City.
Ladovic Charette does not want to keep this 24 out front for too much longer, but Diacomo has done everything right up to this point in this race, and he finds himself the race leader. Ladovic Charette is 2nd. Daniel Paulus Jr., Isaac Nichols, and Zayden Davidson. That is the top 5. How about Zayden Davidson? Unchartered driver here, driving for Team Williams. It's a very strong team as he got Charette back to the inside of Diacomo for the race lead. But Diacomo's going to hold on and lead this lap, but Charette's going to have the advantage going in the turn number 1. Tires are starting to wear out just a little bit as well. That's going to affect the corner speed for these drivers as we move on throughout this run. It's only about halfway through this run here as Charette's going to clear and take the lead away from Bruno Diacomo. Got Daniel Paulus Jr. trying to make a move on the 24 machine, not able to get the run to the inside. And they're still side by side for 4th between Nichols and Davidson. Great run for Zayden Davidson here tonight. LJ Semedo in the 71, great run for him. He is running in the 6th position. Alex Amitali looking to make it into the chase. It helps that the guy he's tied with in points had a tire issue. Logan Williams there still in the last position, a lap down. Sam Amitali looking to move his way further up in the standings. Nathan Smith also looking to do the same. And Nathan Smith looking to jump Logan Williams the way they currently run. You got Avery Alford trying to make his way into the chase as well. He came into this race 12 points behind. And how about Travis Crampton continuing to work his way through the field? He's only about 2.5 seconds off the race lead and about to crack the top 10.
Yeah, Travis having a good run after a poor qualifying effort as, man, just a stack up of cars. It's a bit of a logjam through 3 and 4 there.
And Troxel making a move there. How about Brad Stover as well? He has not had a good season as well. And this is what I said, this race is a great equalizer for some of these drivers in the field. We tend to see a lot of different guys up front here in Michigan than what we have seen up to the point in the season when we get to this race. Well, you know, we have seen Ladovic, we have seen Daniel lead a lot of laps this season and be up front in a lot of these races. We really haven't seen much of Bruno Diacomo or Zayden Davidson or LJ Semedo for that matter. Here they all are in the top 10, in the top 6 for that matter. Blaine Keys at the back bumper of Sam Amitali. Got Nathan Smith trying to work his way through the field as well. You know, you got the 4 GRT guys, the main 4 GRT guys who are all top 10 once again. Charette, Paulus, Nichols, and Nathan Smith. They have had such a good run the past few races, and it looks like all 4 of them are going to make the chase at this rate. We'll see how Gateway, we'll see how Montreal goes over the course of the next week, but the speedways are absolutely their bread and butter. That's the majority of the tracks that we run on here in the Wawa Cup Series, and they have taken that advantage into their hands up to this point in the season. How about Duncan Ward? Won the Sprint Series race here last year. He is finding his way into the top 10, and you know what? Did something happen to Travis? That 98's off the pace right there.
Yeah, we were just
no! Engine damage on the 98. The engine's starting to go south. I think he dropped a cylinder. What a heartbreak for last year's winner of this race, and that's Logan Williams and Travis Crampton, both with issues here in Michigan.
Yeah, and that is such a heartbreak. We were just talking about how good of a run Travis was having, and here he is just dropping like a rock through the field.
That's Laura Chung right behind him. Laura's not having a good run in this race either. She's 33rd at the moment. And that's not good for a driver who's 5th in the standings, and a lot of her comparable drivers in the field in terms of the points are much further up in the running order at the moment. Pauls has gotten back around Giacomo. He's looking to go back to the inside of Charette for the race lead. And Nichols still holding on here to the 4th position. Hey, Zayden Davidson, though, he's got an opportunity of winning this race the way this is going. And watch out for Davidson here. He might have an opportunity at spoiling the party for these drivers here today in Michigan. Paulus looking to get a nose back to the inside of Charette, unable to get that run to the inside that he needs. And LJ Cimento still holding on to the 6th position. Great run for LJ here today. Got Sam Vitale there running now in 7th. Nathan Smith and Blaine Keys, all chase hopefuls right here. Blaine's having a good run right now, and he needs that. And with the issues that Logan has had, Logan and Laura are really the only 2 drivers ahead of him who have struggled in this race, because you got Duncan Ward up here, you got Thomas Troxel up here. Not too far behind is Kirsten Bell, though she's not really having a good run in that 93 machine. And same can be said for Jack Haas in the 39. He's struggling today as well. The ERR cars, that's 27th right now for Jack Haas. Blaine's going to be able to jump at least Jack in this one, the way this is going, and we could see Blaine jump back into the top 10 the way they are currently running. Tanner Parton as well is another one of those drivers ahead of Blaine Keys, and Avery Alford is another one, and Blaine's ahead of all of them right now, so Blaine's just got to be careful not to take himself out. Almost 4 wide off the exit of the corners. They get around LJ Cimento, and they are 3 wide off the exit between Duncan Ward, Sam Vitale, and LJ Cimento, and they're all swarming that 71 now as they get around to the inside of the Titan Fury machine. Nicholas Samadeo trying to work his way back up to the field. This race is far from over for him, but like I said, pretty much needs a win to have an opportunity of making the chase and getting that wild card. And now these 2 drivers are starting to pull away, helping each other out there. Ludovic Charette, Daniel Paulus Jr., half a second on the field now, as Giacomo still runs in the 3rd position. He's another guy, if he gets a win, will be in the wild card race. That would be huge for Giacomo if he can get an opportunity to do that. Zayden Davidson is 4th. And Isaac Nichols there, rounding out the top 5, looking to go back-to-back. Your pick to win, Murray. Still doing a great job here in this race, and we see 3 wide here for 6. How about Blaine Keys, Nathan Smith, and Duncan Ward? And Blaine's going to be able to split the middle. Watch out for Blaine as this race goes along. He might have an opportunity at getting the Charette and Paulus and having a shot at this race win.
Yeah, we got a gaggle of about 6 cars here fighting for 1 spot. That's just the nature of racing here at Michigan. I think the line for passing has moved a bit down the racetrack. We've seen the inside work a bit more. We see the 32 of Blaine Keys going for, what would this be, 6th or 7th position, sorry?
Yeah, the Nathan Smith currently holds on the 6th, and then it's Troxel taking that spot away. Teammate there to Blaine Keys at Pacific Racing. Duncan Ward, LJ Cimento, and they're all on a line again. And Brad Stover's still on this line as well. Great run for Brad. And that 78 machine got to crack the top 10. Andrew Miller's another guy in that wildcard race having an okay run. But, well, I say that. He's all the way back there in the 18th position. They're a little bit further behind than I thought they were. But these guys still battling very hard for 6th. And it's a great battle for the 6th position. But the top 5 have clearly pulled away. Top 5 drivers in this race have 4.5 seconds on the rest of the field right here. As Crampton is still out there. He has yet to make a stop in this race, but he's dead last right now with that cylinder going down in the 41st position. He's hoping for a big wreck that takes out a lot of guys to salvage some points. He's got to be a little careful. You know, he had that big buffer going into this part of the season, but past few races for him have not gone his way, and Ludovic Schrett's pulling away in the overall points lead, but Crampton's got to be careful not to fall behind. He does have the win to fall back, but I know he does not want to be a wild card driver again, especially after the great start to the season that he had. But definitely a unique situation there for those guys at NS Racing. They have definitely slipped up a little bit, and teams like Parker Davis Enterprises especially are going to have an opportunity at this owner's title the way this season has played out as of late. Well, Blaine got way too low in the corner. He's going to lose some spots right here. Nicholas is moving his way back inside the top 10. There for Appalachian Motorsports. Of course, his teammate Logan Williams is going to drop outside the top 10 the way this one's looking in terms of the points. But Sam Video, he's going to look to move up a little bit further. And did something happen to Blaine? No. Hey, he just got really loose into the corner. Thankfully, nothing happened to him, but really had to check it up and recover from that one. And for the lead again.
Yeah, it's the 54 Apollos taking the lead over Charette. And be looking out for... Oh, they're still side by side, actually. Charrette's not going to give him any... not going to give him the high lane. You see the 51's going to pull back and lead this lap, actually.
And she's going to get it. And this is going to bring Giacomo right back in. They got side by side just enough right there. And that allowed Giacomo to close right back in on Paulus and Charrette for that position. But Paulus unable to get that inside lane to work to his advantage. And Ludovic Charrette holding on to the race lead here at Michigan. She has led the most laps so far in this race, looking to really solidify that regular season title. And here we go. We're at the point where it's time for green flag pit stops, and this is going to be a pivotal part in this race. Duncan Ward's going to stay out, try to overcut this one right here. Same with Nathan Smith and LJ Semedo. They're hoping for a caution so they can get a bit of an advantage in the track position. And while this hasn't been too much of a track position race, you still want to have it, especially if you get a restart late into going here in this race. Ludovic Charrette going to lead him down the pit lane. Here's our green flag cycle of pit stops in this Grizzled Graphics 400.
Yeah, and this is just a crucial moment in the race. We talked about how last race, Isaac Nichols, his pit crew came in clutch and was able to help him secure that win. So you're not going to want to have any problems here on pit lane.
And it's going to be a 4-tire stop for all these drivers right here. You got Ludovic Charrette there coming off the pit lane right here. Will she beat Daniel Paulus Jr. off the pit lane? Yes, she will. Good run there for Ludovic Charrette. And Paulus is side by side with the 24 Bruno Giacomo now. So they've got to be careful. Still have a couple guys staying out right here. Carson Miller and Matthew Hubert. So Miller, the other Miller, is going to lead a lap here at Michigan. I know Matt was talking a lot about Carson Miller and having an opportunity. They're going to, at the moment, lap Ludovic Charrette here in this race. So Ludovic's got to be careful for a caution not to come out, because that's going to really mess with their race. But the rest of these guys are going to come down right here. Matthew Hubert, Carson Miller. Ludovic's going to get back around those guys. Laura Chung, Trey Bartow, Braden Perez, winner of this race 2 years ago, as Paulus moves to the inside of Giacomo there for what I will assume be second place once we get everything going here. We'll see what Duncan Ward can do. Well, Ludovic's way out ahead in that 51 machine now. And I think Paulus is also going to get around Duncan Ward as well. And this 51's going to have a huge lead here at Michigan. Looking for her first win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. It's hard to believe it's taken this long before Ludovic Charrette has gone to victory lane. But she's looking pretty good right now. But still 20 laps to go here in this Grizzled Graphics 400. And anything can happen, Murray, in these last 20 laps.
Yeah, and just a monster pit stop from that team, able to get the 51 out. I mean, the 51 and 54 were right on top of each other coming into pit lane. So that was just an incredible stop. And, you know, if things continue to go her way, I mean, this is going to potentially help her secure a win. But like you said, we do have 20 laps to go. Anything can still happen.
Well, it's still it's still the same top 5 that are up there. But Duncan Ward actually closed in on those guys. A great run for Nicholas Samadillo, up to 7th now. Eric Monaco is up to 8th. Great run. We got 2 unchartered drivers inside the top 10. Then it's LJ Semedo, and is that Leonard Kochman in the top 10? How about this? He has had a miserable season in that 41 for Racing Motorsports. Taking over for Blaine Keys, that was definitely big shoes to fill, but the team has not really given him what he has needed. But a top 10 run right now for Leonard Kochman. You got Thomas Troxel. Blaine Keys is in 12th. Nathan Smith down to 13th. Whoa, they got to be careful here. That's Tanner Parton, Brad Stover, and Carson Miller all in a bunch right there as Miller and Hubert were coming off the pit lane. Jack Haas still about 20th position right there. Logan Williams is back in line, but he still has to make another stop in this race. There's no way he's going to be able to make it the whole way through. And Crampton, I believe, is a lap down in that 98 machine in the last position. And Alex Samitali in the 61 has had a problem, and he is in the 41st position, and that's another guy in the chase who's going to have a tough run here today. Not entirely sure what might have happened to the 61 machine, but he came back down the pit lane again. I'm wondering if he got penalized because he's a lap down now, and he's going to lose a ton of points here at Michigan. Tough break for Samitali, who's been holding serve very well in the top 10 all season. He might finally drop outside the top 10 after this one, especially with guys like Blaine having a good run in this race.
Yeah, and that is not what you want to see as a chase contender. Just such a tough break, speeding on pit lane, if that is indeed what happened. But the 51 is just soaring right now, man. Out in front, incredibly comfortable race lead. And I believe your pick to win today. So we'll see if she can hold on.
I don't normally do race picks, but I had a good feeling about Ladovic in this one in particular. Now, may I remind you, 2 years ago in this race, Drew Webb was in this very similar position, and on the very last lap of the race, blew a tire, lost the lead, finished 30th or whatever, and Braden Perez ended up getting the race victory. And also, these guys are all helping each other in the draft right now, and they are closing in significantly on this number 51 of Ladovic Shred. Isaac Nichols is going to go back-to-back. Duncan Ward looking for his second win of the season. Paul is looking for his fourth win. Zayden Davidson still holding serve with these guys as well. It's Team Williams, and it's GRT up front. That's what we got. Bruno Diacomo still sixth. Still a great run for Bruno. Eric Monaco holding serve with these guys. He is seventh right now. LJ Cimento, Sam Italia lap down. Blaine Keys, Nicholas Sambidia rounding out the top 10. And it's Koshmer and Troxel 11th and 12th. Kirsten Bell's 13th. Nathan Smith is 14th. Bryce Egan is 15th. It's another driver who has fallen off as of late, trying to get a good run. Tanner Parton trying to rebound. He is 16th. With all those guys ahead of him having issues, like Sam Italia, like Williams, he's ahead of Jack Haas right now. He might slip into the top 10. We'll see. We'll just have to see what those points look like. How about Duncan Ward up to, look at this. Look at this. 3 wide and maybe even 4 wide for second. They will go 4 wide for second. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and that is why people love this racetrack, as they'll stay at least 3 wide, the 54 becoming the benefactor of that situation. But, man, some hard racing for second place. And, you know, the more they race, the less they're going to be able to eat into this lead that Charette has. So, you know, they might consider dialing it back just a little bit, but everybody wants to be in that second spot.
Mm-hmm. You know, Paulus also has to be careful as well. He's one of those drivers, you know, at the moment only, 20 or so points ahead of the cutoff. You know, if he keeps up this run of strong races, second place finishes and stuff like that, he'll be fine, but you can't end up wrecking yourself out and ending up in a position like Alex and Vitali, who's, they're right next to each other essentially in the standings, so I can see those guys going very different positions in the championship standings once this race is done. It's now 1.8 seconds between Charette and Paulus. Nichols is third. It's still 1-2-3 for GRT. Then it's Duncan Ward, Zayden Davidson, Bruno Diacomo, Eric Monaco, LJ Cimento, Blaine Keys, and Nicholas Sambidio trying to get around Sam Italia right here to have an opportunity at closing in, but they're still about 5 seconds off the race lead. They would need a caution, I think, to have an opportunity after the race victory. And here we go again for second. Isaac Nichols to the inside of Daniel Paulus Jr. Did they close in at all that time? They did not. And Charette able to hold serve for now. All of a sudden, I'm just saying hold serve a lot. I know the French Open's going on right now, but I really don't care too much about tennis. Oh, they're 3 wide again. We keep on missing this. They keep on splitting each other, and Duncan Ward's now going for it here. Watch out for this 23. He could have a shot at winning here today and breaking that streak for GRT. And they're still 3 wide for second. That's not going to help their chances at closing into Charette by the end of this race, but Duncan Ward's having a great run here today, trying to move his way up in the standings. That's third and fourth in the points right there, running top 5 here today, and Paulus is 6th. And they're all going to move up in the standings to get closer to that top position. They're not going to get closer to Ladovic Shred, our points hitter, who is still dominating this race, but they're all going to put themselves in great positions going into the chase. It's going to be 10 laps to go next time by for Ladovic Shred. And Grattan Autosport looking to get their second win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series.
Yeah, and with Ward and Paulus battling, they did end up losing about a 10th just in that lap. So Charette wants to keep seeing this battle happening.
Well, Duncan Ward is now pulling away just a little bit. And we'll have to... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Ladovic Charette, I tell you, she's had one of the best seasons we've seen out of any driver in the Wawa Cup Series this season, and that was to be expected. This is the best team. This is the best alliance in the series. We all know that. One of the best drivers. But we're 17 races in, and she has yet to go to victory lane. That is impressive in a way, but I know Ladovic is not impressed by it herself. And she's this close to getting that first win. But will a certain Duncan Ward close in and possibly take that away? There's a very good chance that could be the case. Duncan is pulled away from Paulus, Davidson, and Nichols. And this 23 might be the fastest car on the racetrack right now. This was the ride when Perez was driving in a 2023, the year. that ended up going to victory lane here in Michigan. And the 23 may end up taking the win away from a dominant driver once again. We're going to have to see. That 23 starting to sniff the draft of Charette right now. And Ladovic's going to do all she can to hold on to this race lead, but that 23 at Duncan Ward is looking really quick.
Yeah, and just as I was talking about losing, oh my goodness, he gained about a second on Charette just in the last couple of laps. That 23 is flying at the moment, just as I was talking about them losing ground to Charette. So,
this is gonna punch. These guys are also closing in too. Paulus and Davidson and Nichols, they're all gonna be in a bunch by the time we get to the end of this race. We're gonna have a 5-car battle for this win here in Michigan. Eric Monaco still holding strong there in 6th. Sam Vitale, of course, is a lap down because of his issue. And then Blaine Keys is now 7th. Blaine trying to move up into the top 10 in the points with this one. Nathan Smith, Nicholas Samadeo, and LJ Semedo. Kirsten Bell about to crack the top 10 in the 93. Diacomo slipping back in the 24. That's a shame for him. His teammate, Bryce Egan's gotten around him there. Bryce is having a good run. Troxel and Barton, decent runs here today. Charette, or should I say Laura Chung in the 20, trying to move her way up so she doesn't lose too many points, but not a good run for Laura Chung, all things considered. And Duncan Ward trying to close in on this 51. They're in the same frame now. And Ladovic Charette's got to be careful not to let this 23 by. And then in return, allow Nichols and Paulus and Davidson to have a shot at this win. It's going to be a very frantic fight to the finish. It is now only 0.3 of a second for Duncan Ward trying to close in on Ladovic Charette for this race lead here in this Grizzled Graphics 400. Who's going to get it done here in Michigan? Ladovic Charette trying to hold on for her first win of the season. Duncan Ward trying to get his 2nd. Nichols trying to get his 3rd. Paulus trying to get his 4th.
That was brilliant. You can't script that. As, Ward just continues to dig into this 51's race lead as we come to 5 to go here.
And Duncan Ward's going to have a great opportunity at this win. That 23's closing right in. And all he's going to have to do is slingshot to the inside of Ladovic to have a shot at this win. But Paulus and Nichols hope they stay side by side for a long time, so they have a shot at the win. And here we go! To the inside for the race lead with 5 laps to go. Duncan Ward to the inside of Ladovic Charette for the race lead. And he's going to make that pass look easy.
Yeah, they were not side by side for long. We'll see if Ward can pull away now. And that is just heartbreaking for Charette to continue to have such a great season and potentially, giving up another chance to win here. But the race is not over.
It is not. It's definitely not over yet. Ladovic Charette going to try to close back in here. Oh, she's going to wash it up just a little bit there in turn number 2. And Paulus and Nichols are going to have a shot here as well to close in. Blaine Keys is up to 6th. And Nathan Smith is up to 7th. They both got around Eric Monaco. Sam Medeo is 9th, and Kirsten Bell is 10th. And they've got a pretty good gap between the rest of them right there. Sam Vitale trying to do whatever he can to salvage whatever he can in this race, but he's stuck all the way back there in the 40th position. And, of course, Logan Williams also came back down the pit lane, and he's now down in the 41st position. Those are 3 chase hopefuls slipping back. Slipping up the racetrack is Duncan Ward. And Ladovic Charette's still going to have a shot at this win. Next time by, going to be 2 laps to go here in the Grizzled Graphics 400 at Michigan. And Ladovic Charette trying to get her first win of the season. She's back to the inside of Duncan Ward for the race lead.
Yeah, and they'll be side by side off of turn 4. We'll see who's going to lead this lap. It's going to be mighty close. I think the 23 is going to keep that momentum from the high side. But here comes the 51 once again into turn number 1 trying to take the lead.
I know there are a lot of people that are rooting for Duncan Ward right now. They do not want to see a GRT car go to victory lane again. But Duncan Ward's going to have to do a lot of blocking and a lot of great racing to beat Ladovic Charette, Daniel Paulus Jr., and Isaac Nichols in this race. But right now he's doing so. Next time by, going to be the white flag here in the Grizzled Graphics 400. Oh, but he slipped up again, and here comes Ladovic back to the inside for the race lead. And they're going to be side by side coming to the white flag here in Michigan. What a race we got going on here in this Grizzled Graphics 400. And it's either going to be Duncan Ward, Ladovic Charette, Paulus, or Nichols getting the race victory.
One more time around this 2-mile speedway as now nearly 3 wide for the race lead.
Oh my goodness, and Paulus splitting the middle. Here on the final lap of the race, they're 3 wide for the race lead. And Paulus to the inside of Duncan, to the outside of Ladovic, Will he have the grip through the middle? He will! What a move out of Daniel Paulus Jr., splitting up 3 wide for the race lead, and it's going to be his 4th win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Daniel Paulus Jr. wins the Grizzled Graphics 400 here in Michigan. Oh my goodness.
Wow. What a last couple of laps that was.
That right there. What a run. And Matt's got to be happy about that one. I know Ludovic had a shot, but that is Matt's car. That's the 54 there, and Daniel is absolutely going to be happy about that one once again. Another race win for Daniel Paulus Jr. That's already his 4th of the season. And once again, Ludovic Charette gets denied a Wawa Cup Series race victory after she led the most laps in this race, and Duncan Ward was so close. Just couldn't quite pull it off. Daniel Paulus Jr. had other ideas here today at the Michigan International Speedway. What a race! Caution-free, absolute cinema here in the Wawa Cup Series, as it always is.
And I was so worried they were going to wreck going 3 wide.
Came close.
Yeah, they had to have touched there briefly, but man, what a move by the 54 of Paulus for the race win.
Wow. Absolute craziness. Hey, you know, I'm glad this was the Grizzled Graphics 400 for you, you know? I mean, I know we wanted a good race for you. Well, we got a good one here in Michigan. But how about that? 4 wins on the year for Daniel Paulus Jr., and not only that, Paulus actually now jumps Ludovic Charette on the Wawa Cup Series wins list now, which I know Ludovic's probably not going to be too happy about that, but what a race, Murray, and I'm sure you're just as speechless as I am. Every single race we seem to get is just crazy good racing, and that is exactly what we saw here today in the last lap. Split the middle, 3 wide pass for the win here in this Grizzled Graphics 400. What a race there for Daniel Paulus Jr.
Yeah, it was surely entertaining to watch all day, even when, you know, we had some periods where the field was spread out and, you know, there was a significant gap for the lead. We still had great racing all over the place, and ultimately the leader got reeled in, and we saw some great action toward the end of that race.
Wonderful action. That was a lot of fun. We knew this race was going to be fun, and I tell you, this race never disappoints. And how about that? You know, watch out for Daniel Paulus Jr. this season. That right there, he might be your champion. The way this season has gone, and he's going to be hard to beat. He may end up getting more than 6 wins. 6 wins is the record held by both Blaine Keys and Drew Webb in the respective seasons there. Paulus may get 7 or 8 at this rate, or even more. That's just how good those guys are there at Team Velocistar. What a race that was, and bigger stories on the other end of the spectrum here. Sam Vitale, Williams, and even Crampton, though Crampton had that cushion, they're going to fall back, and they're going to lose a ton of ground. Ludovic Charette is going to skyrocket, have like a 50 or 60 point lead home the field, even though she still has yet to go to victory lane this season. But not good for Sam Vitale and Williams. They were 8th and 9th in the points, and they're going to both finish 40th or worst in this race. That is not good for those guys. And then you got guys like Nathan Smith who are going to jump them. Nathan Smith had a good run in this race, finishing in the 6th position. Blaine's going to probably move top 10 now because that was a 7th place run for Blaine, and you know he's going to jump plenty of points on those guys. Avery Alford, our pole sitter, what happened to him? He didn't have a good run. 29th for Alford. He's going to slip back. This is a tough break there for Avery Alford after winning the pole yesterday. And then you got Tanner Parton there finishing 16th. That's not really going to help him out or hurt him too much. And Jack House is finishing 20th. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting cut line battle, and you're going to see the points here in just a moment. But final thoughts on this race, Murray. And hey, great to have your business. It is your business. Grizzled Graphics is a sponsor of this race, and I think you'll see more Grizzled Graphics in the future. But what a race here in Michigan. And final thoughts on this one here as we're getting closer to that chase cutoff here in the Wawa Cup Series.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for having me, and you'll definitely see more of Grizzled Graphics, and definitely appreciate you letting me commentate with you. This is always just a great series to watch and be a part of, so hopefully we get to see more races like this in the future, because that was a classic. That was a real good one.
That was a real good one. Hey, we're going to see more races like this in the future. Hey, We got one coming up in just a couple of days. We're going to be at Gateway on Tuesday night. We're going to be in Montreal next Saturday. Pocono the week after that. And then the regular season finale at Atlanta, or Echo Park Speedway as they call it now. We're going to call it Atlanta Motor Speedway because Echo Park is not paying me any money to say that. So, you know, it's Atlanta Motor Speedway because we use the old version anyway. So, going to be a fun one there on June 27th for the Chase cutoff race, and we pretty much know those top 3, top 4 are going to be in the Chase unless something drastic happens in these next 4 races. But who else is going to join them for the championship fight here in just a few weeks? Hey, Daniel Paulus Jr., 4th win of the season. What a run this season for Paulus, and he has been one of the best drivers we've seen. And this is a guy who's been in the series since the very beginning. Started off very humble, did not have a good run in his first year. Finally got a win last year with Trackhouse, made the Chase. This year, he's going for the title. He's going to have a good shot at it in that 54 machine. We'll have to see how it all goes down for Paulus as we move on throughout the rest of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching. On behalf of Murray Papiani, thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Daniel Paulus Jr. And here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 18 races. I will see you guys later.